This is a little information on how to get Excel to run a very simple regression, put in a line of best fit, and find p-values and adjusted R-squares so that you can properly interpret the data. We're going to be using an example that led to a lot of problems in the 70s and 80s. It comes from what's called the Phillips curve. The reason for the Phillips curve and the reason it became a problem was an empirical relationship that was noticed between the inflation rate and the unemployment rate. So to see what led us to this belief, first thing you need to do is open Excel in the data set and then go to File, Options, go to Add-ins. Then you're going to look for Excel add-ins and click on OK. And then you're going to choose Analysis Toolpac. Click OK. It's going to install what you're going to need for regression analysis. So if you clicked on the Data tab and then clicked on Data Analysis, you'd see you now have a bunch of choices. Scroll down to Regression. Click OK. Now you have a bunch of options to look at. You're going to want the dependent variable, the Y range. In this case, the way we structured it, it was the inflation rate. Click on the label and everything down. You don't want any blank cells there. Click on the button marked label. Then go into the X range. That's where we're going to put our unemployment rate. You highlight all of it. Then the output range, you want to put that where it's not going to overwrite anything, where you'll be able to see it. And then click in the cell where you want to leave it. So I'm going to put it in H1. And then for the purposes of this class, I want you to be able to put a line of best fit so that you see what the regression is doing. Click on the line fit plots. What that's going to do is going to generate a scatter plot. It's going to have axes labeled, and it's going to generate the line of best fit. Click on OK. It goes through its processes and turns it out. Now I have a bias towards Times New Roman, so here's your graph. Just drag it over. It shows you everything you want there, and since I like Times New Roman, click in the box, right click in it, and choose font. Go over to Latin text font and type in Times New Roman. Oops. Click OK. Now everything that shows up in that graph is going to be Times New Roman. I also like to see, pardon me, these identifiers, the legend I like to have on the bottom, so you just right click on it, click bottom, and OK. So there you have the regression. Now to make it the line as opposed to the dots, all you have to do is right click on one of the red dots, the predicted inflation rate, choose Format Data Series, marker options. I'm going to get rid of the marker, but then I'm going to put in a line. I want a solid line. I want it to be red. And then I'm going to click Line Style. I want it to be solid line. I could make it perhaps a bit of a dashed line. Close, and then you've got that line of best fit. In your equation, you also have, for interpretation, you have the t-values, and this is where we got into a bit of problems. Notice this correlation is not causation. We have a p-values. I'm going to change that, format the cells. And I want it to be, come on. Going to choose this type of number eventually. Apparently I'm not. Try it again. Format cells, the number. I'm going to give it 4 decimal places. And notice the p-value is 0, so that means it's statistically significant. We also have adjusted R-squared, which I prefer to R-squared as well. And so for this class, I'm going to want you to evaluate the p-values, the coefficients. So you need the p-values, the coefficients, and the adjusted R-squared. You have the line of best fit. You should highlight the borders. You can also add in major axes if you'd like. So I'm going to add major grid lines, add major grid lines. And what you can see is that there was this perceived relationship between the inflation rate and the unemployment rate. So if the idea was if we bumped up the inflation rate a little bit, we could wind up reducing the unemployment rate. That's a brief instruction on how to use the data analysis Toolpac to run regressions. I much prefer it over instituting a trend line on a scatter plot because that doesn't give you the p-values, which are absolutely crucial